This series of mini lessons is for those who want to build the basics of Arabic in as little time as possible. It'll be especially useful for those who want to study Quran with this channel. First, let's compare English and Arabic conjugation. In English, you don't really need to worry about conjugation because English verbs don't change a lot. For example, English verb to do has only one past tense form, did. In the present tense, it has two forms, do or does, and imperative has just one form. On the other hand, Arabic has 13 conjugated patterns depending on whether the subject is I or we or you or he or she, and so forth. Not only that, we have more conjugations such as subjunctive and jussive. But don't worry, imperative, subjunctive, and jussive are easily derived from the imperfect form, so I will cover them separately in another video. And for today's video, we'll just focus on perfect and imperfect tense. First, let me begin with terminology. What is a perfect and imperfect tense? To put it simply, perfect tense is equivalent of past tense and imperfect is equivalent of present tense in English. But in Quran, perfect tense is used to talk about not just past events, but future events as well. That's why I prefer to use the term perfect and imperfect instead of past and present in my videos. The key difference between perfect and imperfect tense is whether the action is complete or not. Perfect tense refers to completed actions, while imperfect tense refers to incomplete, ongoing, or future actions. Most of the time, completed actions are past events, and that's why perfect tense is mainly used to talk about past events. But in Quran, some future events are considered certain to happen 100%. That's why perfect tense can be used to talk about future events as well. So just remember, perfect tense for completed actions, imperfect tense for incomplete actions. That being said, let's move on to the past tense conjugation. This is the conjugation chart of the verb fa'ala, meaning to do, which is gonna be the model verb for us to learn the conjugation. So I put the three root letters, fa, ain, lam, in red color. So if you want to figure out the conjugation for other verbs, you can just swap out these red letters and insert other root letters. If you look at the chart, it's divided according to number, gender, and person. As for the number, there are singular, dual, and plural. Singular is for one person, dual for two people, and plural for more than two people. Then let's go over this chart one by one. Fa'ala is he did. Fa'ala with a long vowel alif at the end is two people did. Fa'alu is they did. Notice here that the alif in the end is not pronounced. It's fa'alu and not fa'alua. Next, fa'alat is she did. Fa'alata is two women did. Fa'alna is they did for a female group. Next, fa'alta is you did when addressing a male. Fa'altuma is you both did for both genders. Fa'altum is you all did. Next, fa'alti is you did for female. Fa'altunna is you all did for a female group. Moving on to the last line. Fa'altu is I did. Fa'alna with a long vowel alif is we did. These two are easy to confuse, but remember that fa'alna for we did has a long vowel alif here. If this chart is too much for you, just try to memorize these ones because these are the most often used in Quran. Another thing to note about this chart is if you look at the stem vowel, which is the vowel on the second radical, it's fatha, but depending on the verb, it can be kasra or dhamma as well. For example, for this verb amila, meaning to work, the stem vowel is kasra. Also, I want to mention that there are some irregular verbs as well. But for now, don't worry too much about them and just focus on learning the basic conjugation. Now, let's move on to imperfect tense conjugation. And we are going to use the same model verb fa'ala from the root fa, ain, lam. Yaf'alu is he does. Yaf'alani is two men do. Yaf'aluna is they do. Moving on, taf'alu is she does. Taf'alani is two women do. Yaf'alna is they do for a female group. Next, Taf'alu is you do for addressing a male. Taf'alani is you do for addressing two people, regardless of gender. Taf'aluna is you all do. Next, taf'alina is you do for addressing a female. Taf'alna is you all do for a female group. Now on to the last line. Af'alu is I do, and naf'alu is we do. In this chart, note that these two are conjugated the same, and these two are same as well. So you'll have to look at the context to know which one of the two it is. And again, if all this chart is too much for you, try to memorize these ones first, as these are the most common ones in Quran. And when you study this chart, note the similarities among these forms. Yaf'alu, taf'alu, af'alu, naf'alu. They rhyme together. And as a final note, you need to be careful about the same thing I mentioned for the perfect tense chart. If you look at the stem vowel for this verb, yafalu, it's fatha. But again, the stem vowel can also be either kasra or dhamma, depending on the verb. For example, for this verb, ya'budu, the stem vowel is dhamma. But for now, don't worry too much about them and just focus on memorizing the basic conjugation for fa'ala, yafalu. And that'll be all for perfect and imperfect conjugations for regular verbs.